Hello everyone. Now we'll study about cyclotron, right? It's a very important device and we have already studied the basic concepts which we will be using here. So this is cyclotron. So what is a cyclotron? It is a device which can accelerate particles to very high energies, right? So a device to accelerate the particles to very high energies. Right? Now, what is the principle behind this cyclotron? The principle basically is that a charged particle can be accelerated to very high energies by even a moderate electric field if it is allowed to pass through that moderate electric field repeatedly, right? And how that is done here? Here it is done by applying the perpendicular electric and magnetic fields, which results in a circular motion of the charged particle through the repeatedly through the moderate electric field. This results in high energy. So first thing is that what is the principle that a particle here this word is important. So the principle is a charged particle can be accelerated to high energies by passing it repeatedly through a moderate electric field. Now this is done by applying a perpendicular magnetic field. I'll tell you what is its role. Which results in circular motion of the charged particle through moderate electric field. Repeatedly through moderate electric field. So these are the two important points. So what is the role of, this question is asked, role of electric field and role of magnetic field. So the electric field, it accelerates. So it provides energy, right? It accelerates the charged particle. And what is the role of magnetic field? It provides circular motion. Okay. Obviously to the charged particle, right? Circular motion to the why it is providing circular motion to the charged particle. We have studied that when this magnetic field is perpendicular, then it provides the circular paths. So this is about the principle. Now we'll have to discuss the construction, but before that I'll rub the board because I need this much space. Okay, so I'm rubbing this part. So for construction, two hollow metallic discs are cut from a cylinder. Suppose we have a cylinder like this, right? So this is cylindrical. We know this is a lid of a box which I am showing. So this is a cylinder with less thickness, right? So here a cylinder, hollow metallic cylinder is taken. It is cut into two parts from here. If we look at these two parts from the top, what will appear? See, this part will be a D and this part will also a D. So that's why in the construction it is written like this, that two hollow metallic Ds are taken. Okay. So I am drawing those hollow metallic Ds. I am showing the top view which is given in your NCERT. So I'll draw a bigger diagram. So this is 1D. This is the top view. Okay. So if we look at the side view and we cut it, so this will be a rectangular part. So I can show another diagram. So where this can be, this will look like this. This cut part, this part will look like this and this part will look like this. And above it and below it, magnets are kept such that the magnetic field is perpendicular to the motion of the particle. So if we are placing a north magnet here, north facing magnet here and south facing magnet here, the magnetic field will be here to here. So that means if we look at the top side, it will be normally outward. So how will I draw this is the top view now. So if this is the top view, so your magnetic field must be coming outward because the lower portion is the north of the magnet, right? So this diagram is for explanation only, okay? So this is the south of the magnet. These are the D's, and that's why, because this is coming outward, this is north, so this magnetic field will be outward. So from here top view it will come outward. So I am drawing this with these dots. Right? Now this is an evacuated chamber. So this is an evacuated chamber. These Ds are connected to the AC, that is oscillator. So where the direction of the current changes after every half cycle. Now, so what are the construction? What is the construction? Two hollow metallic Ds are taken. Next point will be magnets to provide perpendicular magnetic field. Okay. Third part in construction, oscillator. Okay. So these are the basic construction parts. And then there is the charged particle is injected here between the gap. I'll discuss in the working. And then after we have a deflecting window after covering the circular paths. It is to be deflected somewhere wherever we have to target these particles. So this is the basic construction part. Now I'll discuss this working. So charged particle to be accelerated is injected between the gaps of the Ds. Between the gaps of the Ds. Okay. And if it is positive, in one, this is an oscillator. So at one half cycle, this will be positive and this will be negative. And in next half cycle, this will be negative and this will be positive. Right? So at any time, one of the D's has a positive polarity and other has negative polarity. If the charged particle is positive, then it will be attracted towards the negative D. The positive charged particle attracted to the negative D, obviously, right? And magnetic field is perpendicular. Therefore, it moves in a circle. So let's mark it here. Suppose this is your positive charge. The polarity at any time initially, this is negative polarity, this is positive. So this will enter here. Now magnetic field is perpendicular. We know that it is placed here in this gap. It is attracted towards this D. But this magnetic field is perpendicular, so it will move in circular path. The direction can be found by Fleming's left hand rule. So once it covers the semicircle, it reaches again the gap, right? So this is important that when it reaches the gap, at the same instant, the polarity of the D's is reversed by this oscillator. So very important point. So I'm marking with the red pen over here. So the moment when this charged particle enters the gap, the polarity of these is reversed by the oscillator. So what will happen now? Now this one is negative, this one is positive, so it will move in this now. The next time it will complete. Now again when it enters this gap, again the polarity is reversed, so it will follow a path like this. And when we want to use it, what do? We use a deflecting plate which helps in directing this particle to the target. Okay, so this is about the working of one line needs to be written. The polarity of the Ds is reversed by the oscillator when it reaches the gap. The process continues till it gains maximum energy. Then it is deflected to the target by deflecting plate. Okay, so this was just for understanding purpose. This is the correct diagram. So this was for understanding. I'm just rubbing this diagram. Now we have to just discuss the mathematical discussion, which is easy for you. So this was about the construction and working. Now the mathematical part. Now for this mathematical part, we need to recall whatever we have studied in the motion of a charged particle. We know that here also the magnetic force is providing the centripetal force. So as before, this magnetic force provides the centripetal force. Now this magnetic field is perpendicular to velocity. Therefore, this maximum force will be QVB. It provides this. So R is mv upon QB. Now this, we are talking about the time spent in 1D. That will be a semicircle. So let's say this time is t. So this is time is distance upon speed. Now this is pi r upon speed is v. So this is pi r upon QBR upon m. So this gives me pi m by QB. So total time spent in one circular path, that will be 2 times of t. So this will be 2 pi m by QB. And frequency will be 1 upon time period. So this will be QB upon 2 pi m. It is clear that time period or frequency are independent of velocity and radius. So the result, which is very important, often asked in boards, that time period and frequency are independent of velocity and radius. Now for this working to be possible, we know that this time coordination between the oscillator and the moment when the particle reaches the gap, that coordination must be there. What does that mean? That the frequency of the charged particle must be equal to frequency of the oscillator. So this charged particle, we are talking about the cyclotron frequency, and this is oscillator frequency. So this condition is called resonance condition. If this condition, this coordination between these frequencies is disturbed, the cyclotron will no more work, right? So this is a necessary resonance condition. Now let's talk about maximum kinetic energy. When the particle reaches the maximum radius position, so that maximum radius position will be R naught, right? So I can say that half m v naught square. This is the maximum kinetic energy of this charged particle, right? So here again, this we can use the same relation, that mv square upon r is equal to qvb. So if maximum radius is there, that means maximum velocity was there. So this we will write like this. Here we can multiply and divide by 2. This will give me half mv naught square on one side. Rest of the things I can shift on the other side upon 2 R naught, right? So here I can put the value of V. We know that V naught is, let's mark this as equation 1. So I can write this QB R naught, and for this I will write QB R naught upon M whole square. Sorry, QB R naught upon M. This is as it is. So this will give me kinetic energy. This is kinetic energy maximum is equal to half Q square B square R naught square upon M. This is the maximum kinetic energy. Now let's discuss some limitations of the cyclotron. Now for limitations, we know this resonance condition is necessary condition. So whenever this condition is disturbed, the cyclotron will not work. So first thing is that whenever a particle moves with very high velocities, the mass of the body increases by relativity formula. So as velocity increases, so or you can say for very high velocities, mass increases. Why? As mass is equal to rest mass upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square, right? So if mass increases, what is the formula for frequency? QB by 2 pi m. So if mass increases, this is the frequency of the cyclotron, that means the charged particles. So if m increases, frequency will decrease. So that means frequency of cyclotron will no more be equal to frequency of the oscillator. This coordination will be disturbed. So therefore, cyclotron will not work, right? To rectify this, to solve the problem, two things can be done. First is B can be increased. Therefore, mu C will increase to become equal to this, right? Second thing, what else can be done? We know that nu decrease. So if we decrease this oscillator frequency, then also the coordination will be achieved. So by decreasing oscillator frequency, this will also result this. Therefore, the coordination will be established and it will work properly. So this first case, when we increase the magnetic field, this is called as synchrotron. And this case, when the frequency of the oscillator is decreased, this is synchrocyclotron. Right? So this was about the limitation. First limitation, very important. Second thing, the neutral particles cannot be accelerated. Why? Because this is based on charged particle concept. These charged particles are attracted by the bees, right? So can't work for the neutral particles, not for neutral particles, right? Third thing, electrons can't be accelerated. Why? I'm giving you in short points. Since the mass of electrons is very less, therefore these are easily accelerated to high energies. Gain energy and high velocities. Then after, due to this first point, the coordination is disturbed very early, so therefore it cannot work. So for this, a special instrument called Betatron is used, right? Then we have uses of cyclotron. So wherever we need high energy particles like bombardment of nuclei, for producing radioactive isotopes, or for this is nuclear disintegration only, so no need to write more. We can search for more uses for the cyclotron. So this is all about cyclotron, very important topic, so you must learn this and understand all the concepts from here. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Have a nice day.